are working and streaming today. I tried this the other day and I don't think it was working, but it does appear that maybe just maybe, am I streaming? I see a little eye, maybe not. Either way, I'm going to take some time today to talk about and discuss what it means to grow, what it means to experience growth. And experiencing growth is not something we talk about. It's not something that happens here. It's not an intellectual thing when we decide to grow. Um, it's a felt sense, which at times makes learning and growing nebulous, hard to grasp. And so, as somebody who spent an entire career as an educator, as a teacher, really learning about how human growth occurs, what occurs in human growth, in the human being, intellectually, cognitively, I've got a lot of experiences with that. But what actually happens inside of people's minds and hearts when change and growth occur, and what that inner push pull is something that I've really delved into in much deeper and more meaningful ways over the past few years. And some of the reasons why I've been able to delve down deep into understanding human growth, human potential, um, is because I stepped away from a 20-year career in education and really transformed and changed the entire kind of outside experience of my life. Now I work from home. I have a very flexible schedule. I don't necessarily, I don't interface with a lot of people all day, every day. And so I've removed a bunch of noise from my life. And I don't, and I, noise is not a negative or a positive word. It just means a lot of interactions with a lot of different people and a lot of different needs. And as an empath, as somebody who deeply senses and feels and can understand other people's sense, their lived experience in that moment, that's very challenging. That's very challenging work. To navigate and keep in a balanced way, keep yourself balanced, and help the people around you that you're working or engaging with balanced. And so as I stepped away from that into a space where I've created, and I do think there's two people watching. I can't tell. So if you are there and you're chatting, I apologize that I'm not engaging with that. It's just I might have to do some work on my end here on the tech spot of this. But as I have begun to really think about what that means now that I'm in a space where I'm more, I have a lot more opportunity to be very aware, right? It's hard to be aware when you are interfacing with a lot of people all day, every day, when there is a constant need both from the tech and the human beings in front of you. Thank you. Oh, MCK. Thank you. Thank you. So there's definitely a need to be able to think differently and give myself. I've had to give myself space to think very differently and very strategically. And so um, over the past couple of years, I've created this space for myself, and I've created this way for myself to examine how my mind works, what that looks like, what are the inner workings of focus. I've spent hours concentrating, white knuckling things in my past, and I've realized that really doesn't serve me or serve others to operate from that type of an energy. And so, what I've been challenging myself to do is exactly this moment. MCK, your point, like no need to worry about the chat, right? As somebody who is very attentive to others, right? Very aware of others' needs. When you run in a class, you've got classrooms or lots of people around you. You can always, I've been a person who's been able to really understand individuals in the collective. My own, what I need has typically been back burner. And so these past few years, what I've done is I've putting myself on the front burner. I've made space for myself to think about what I want, who I want to be, how I want to operate in the world. What are the relationships that I need to nurture? Because I gave a lot of energy to a lot of relationships with a lot of people. I mentioned I was in and out of buildings. I was responsible for a lot of people. But what I noticed was the people that were closest to me, and this is, you hear this, the people that were closest to me, I couldn't see. I couldn't recognize. I couldn't that's probably a better word. I wasn't appreciating my husband, my children to the way in which I do now. And so I made a tremendous amount of growth, and I've experienced a tremendous amount of growth. And I feel like I've gotten to some clean, clear air. I've gotten on a mountain, I've been climbing a mountain, and I've gotten higher. I'm higher on the mountain. I can feel how I've elevated myself in such a positive way. But as I'm going up to that mountain, the air gets thinner. And I can feel how the smallest things, coming and doing a live and not knowing if the chat's working, or little things, now are becoming the things that I'm noticing a lot more. And these are becoming my growth areas. And so the reason why I wanted to challenge myself, truly challenge myself, put this out to a bunch of different media, right, streaming outlets, was because this moment is me sharing my growth and being my growth. This is me doing growth while I'm in it and cognitively processing it. You see my little icon up there? It's like this little brain of a nucleus. That's such a powerful symbol for me, because there is a scientific way in which we create new neural pathways. You can read the research. There's a lot of science out there. If you've heard of James Clear's book on Atomic Habits, that is grounded in research around how our brains work, how our psyche works, how our literal neurons work, right? How we create new neural pathways to create new habits. And he breaks it down very scientifically. And that's where growth comes. When we are able to accurately assess past habits, past patterns, in order to recognize them and make new choices in any given moment. And so my growth in new choices is to put myself out there live, to record riff, as I call it, can I riff from a live stream by putting it out there in a way that is coherent, makes sense, brings people on a journey, connects heart to heart with others. And so I've got to, it's that whole, right, like take your own medicine. And so this is my take my own medicine, but in the best way, healthy medicine, right? Healthy medicine to help us grow. So if you're watching this, if you've gotten this far, I would encourage you to ask yourself, what is it, the experience of growing for you? When you are in a phase and a moment where growth is happening, where you are growing, that is a movement phase. That is a motion. What are the motions? What are the emotions that are happening for you when you are growing? What are those emotions? What is the information? So emotions aren't good or bad. It's not positive or negative. Emotions are information. Mark Brackett's work on, you can look at it, it's called The Ruler, widely adopted in corporate and in schools. I think he's out of Yale. And he talks about emotions are information. They are guideposts. They are a sign for you. They're information for you about something in your life. So if you have a strong emotion, a strong reaction, that's an indication to you that there's something for you to explore there. What that is to explore, only you know, only you have inside of you to be able to go on to that exploration. And so as you think about your growth, as you think about what it feels like, what your experience is when you are growing. Really getting clear on that will help you move through growth phases faster and more accurately. Because we all want to grow and learn and get to that next level, right? But we have to accurately reflect, and we have to realize when our patterns, our own patterns, my own patterns are inhibiting me from my own growth. And so if I don't understand what growth feels like, looks like, sounds like in my life when I'm growing, how can I move through that in a more effective, clear way? And become, right, like this, that's what high performance athletes do. They understand nuance. They understand nuance of themselves. High performance athletes understand an ankle move, a wrist twist, or whatever those pieces are. They understand an internal feeling. They have spent time on both their external physical muscle memory, but their internal emotional plays that they make. And so growth, for any sort of growth that you want to make, whether it's you just want, whatever your goal is for your own growth, so important that you understand what your growth experience is like. And for me, know one of my challenges, or one of the things some might say I'm called to do, is to show others how I grow. Maybe as inspiration, maybe as that's not how to do it. I don't know. But one of the things that I know I'm called to do is to share with others and show others my growth experience while I'm in it, not necessarily just ramble. I did this, and this is how I grew. And so coming live for me is doing that. So I invite you to think about your growth, to feel what that's like, to reflect, to take a pause, to take a moment, to acknowledge the grace and kindness and gentleness to give to yourself when you're growing, because growth can be uncomfortable at times. It can be uncomfortable at times. And I think it becomes for me, what I'm learning is that discomfort is just information feeling, telling me where I need to shore something up, what I need to recognize, what I need to notice. And so I invite you to make a commitment, set an intention around the growth that you are desiring for your life. You know, I'm streaming to Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Some would say these are three different, very different audiences. Doesn't matter. No matter where you're entering in, there is growth waiting for you, just like this is my growth for me. And so I invite you in to your own growth. I invite you in to think about that in a way and feel your way through that in new ways. And so if you watch this, thank you. I genuinely appreciate some space for me to openly share what's at the beginning felt so scary and so overwhelming. Like, I can't go live and just talk. I don't have anything. I don't know. And then to be able to do it in an experience growth now, post being kind of like, I'm wrapping this up, being done, has been really enlightening for me, educating and moving to a more enlightened way of thinking and arriving. So thank you for being here. And if there's any way that I can be a support or help you, or you feel connected or compelled, please don't hesitate to reach out and stay connected. Thank you so much. And we will